Today I'm going to tell you the top 10 things that I love about Longmont, Colorado, and the top 10 things that I hate about Longmont, Colorado. And I'm filming here at the beautiful McIntosh Lake, and we're starting right now. Hi, I'm Marilyn Ackerman, top Longmont real estate agent with HomeSmart Realty. I also live in Longmont. If you are new here, consider subscribing to my channel because I put out great content about living in Longmont, things to do, homes for sale, neighborhood tours, and just great information that I'm sure you won't want to miss if you are thinking of living here. It's great that so many people are interested in moving to my town of Longmont. There's so many reasons I love living here, and there are things I'm not so excited about. So let's get started, and we'll start with the negatives. Number one, there's so much comparison of Longmont to Boulder, and Boulder is always perceived as so much better, making Longmont seem not desirable. They're always compared because Boulder is just a 20-minute drive away, so it's natural to do that. Longmont on its own is an incredible town to live in. I think around the 1990s there was maybe no comparison at all. But Longmont has really changed and come up in the last couple of decades. It's arrived as a great town with super restaurants, a walkable downtown, good schools, and so many amenities that I'll talk about in the pros part of this video. Now, Boulder is an amazing town, of course. It has the University of Colorado, it has the walkable Pearl Street Mall, it has Chautauqua Park with world-class hiking. There's a t-shirt I've seen around town that says Longmont versus everyone, but it's really true of Longmont because if you live here, then you will find yourself defending Longmont to people that don't live here or have only heard of it in comparison to Boulder, and it really is a wonderful place to live. Oh, but I am going to talk about the cons. Okay, number two for a con about living in Longmont is a lack of nightlife. So although downtown Longmont has plenty of restaurants and bars, there's only about 3 or 4 that are open late. And by late, I mean about 2 a.m. on the weekends. So a lot of Longmont closes down between 10 p.m. and midnight, even on weekends. So if you're looking to go out late, I suggest going to Boulder or Denver. I guess it's not much of a con for me because it's just not something that I do a whole lot is go out real late. The number 3 con of living in Longmont is a lack of public transportation. It's very difficult to get an Uber, a Lyft, or even a taxi here. So it's something that you just can't plan on because they don't frequent here a lot. Also, the bus routes don't really cover the whole town, even though there are buses. But if you ever have to put your car in the shop for a day, you really need to rent a car unless you can make do with your bike. And there are a lot of bike trails. This leads me to the 4th con of living in Longmont, and that is the traffic to Denver. So the traffic to Denver can be very unpredictable. Typically it takes about 45 minutes to drive to Denver, but I always leave about 20 minutes extra just in case I run into traffic, which happens sometimes. I'm always glad I give myself extra time when I do. And the 5th con about living in Longmont is really a con about the whole Front Range, and this is the traffic to get to the ski resorts. So I'm talking about weekend traffic. If you want to go anywhere that's along I-70, so that is going to be Breckenridge, Copper Mountain, Arapahoe Basin, Keystone, Vail, and Winter Park. You go on I-70, then you go off it to get there. So that one too. It is going to be heavily trafficked on the weekend, so that means Saturday morning and Sunday afternoon for coming back. So the best thing to do to avoid that traffic is go on a weekday where it's going to be a lot lighter. Definitely the holidays are very, very heavily trafficked there. And the other thing to do about that is just to spend the night somewhere there and make it a 2-day trip. Number 6. The last 2 years, smoke from fires has been a major issue in the summer. This affects all areas on the Front Range, depending on where the forest fires are. So staying indoors on certain days because of smoke is not something I ever had to do until 2020. So I did that in 2020 a couple days, and in 2021 for maybe a day. And I've never felt like I've had to do that before, but it was literally raining ashes on those days. So now it's the end of July 2022. I haven't had to stay inside at all this summer, so that's been fantastic. Number 7, housing prices continue to rise here. Although it is the most affordable city in Boulder County, it does not have enough affordable housing options for ownership. We have a housing shortage here in Longmont, and you will see the open space here and the farmland that is designated as open space. It has restrictions on it. It can't be built on. So don't think that there's more places to be developed in Longmont. There's really very, very few. Longmont is very close to being full of development, and that is going to cause homes to be less and less affordable in the future. We love our open space, our nature areas and parks, but this is what happens when we designate so much land towards them. It is far more affordable in Longmont than it is in Boulder, Louisville, and Lafayette, Colorado. Number 8 of cons of living in Longmont is that maintaining a yard can be very costly here because we water our yard with city water. We don't really have a different type of water for it if you're within the city limits. So your water bill will go up maybe $100 to $300 per month in the summer because it's really hot and your yard takes a lot of water at that time. So what you can do, like what I did, is you can xeriscape your yard using plants like lavender, sage, aspen trees, lots of rocks, lots of boulders, just plants that are very hardy and don't need a lot of water, and well, that sure cuts down on the bill. Number 9 on the cons list is that there is a train that goes through Longmont, and if you live near this train, it's going to be very loud. It's several blocks east of Main Street is where it runs, and it runs all through the town, and there's a couple other crossways where it goes through town. But it is really loud, so if you don't like the train noise, then just don't live within 2 or 3 blocks of those train tracks. You'll be fine. Everywhere else, it is very, very peaceful. We don't hear the train in the whole town, just when you're close to those tracks. My last con of living in Longmont is that there is a lack of clothing stores. The mall in Longmont has 11 restaurants and coffee shops, some salons, a new movie theater, but there's no clothing stores like most malls. So for clothing stores, we have Marshalls, Ross, and Kohl's, and so you have to drive to Loveland or Boulder. Both are 20 minutes away. So if you have a family that you shop for clothes for quite often, like kids that you shop for clothes for, you need to make do with those stores, or it's a bit of a drive. And now time for the pros about Longmont and what I love about Longmont. Number 1, it has to be the parks, the trails, the lakes and reservoirs. 30% of the city of Longmont is zoned for parks, trails, and nature areas. My favorite is the 3-mile loop right here around McIntosh Lake that you can walk, run, or bike around. There's also the St. Vrain Greenway that goes 8 miles along the St. Vrain River right through Longmont. You can get in an inner tube and float down the river right through town. All in all, there are 7 greenways and 8 nature districts to explore in Longmont. It makes staying fit outdoors really easy. Oh, and to add to this, the number 2 pro of living in Longmont is that hosting an informal party in a gorgeous place is really easy here. For a kids party or a graduation party, people can reserve one of the over 45 shelters at parks here, and you have an instant outdoor barbecue, volleyball party, or spring, summer, or fall party. Number 3. People are very friendly here, and that is not just my opinion. It's what I hear from people coming from other areas of the country. I think that half of the people in Longmont likely moved here at some point from another area. So when you are new to the area, there are plenty of ways to meet people. The number 4 pro of Longmont is the downtown Longmont events. It's become a very cool downtown over the last 15 years with events going on like art walks on the first Fridays of the month, weekly outdoor concerts where people are dancing in the streets, different kinds of music. Typically it's a rock band or salsa band or reggae. There's food trucks, it's for families, singles, it's for everyone. There's a restaurant night where you can sample different restaurant foods. There's also a Halloween parade for families that is pretty huge. There's a Christmas lights parade also. The city has great events downtown and I hope you check them out. Number 5 of the pros of living in Longmont is the great food. There are 16 restaurants in downtown Longmont that offer patio or rooftop dining. There are several award-winning restaurants as well as local favorites that are casual and have a fun vibe. The number 6 pro of living in Longmont is the weather. We have 300 days of sun here. It's dry with little humidity. The winters are mild because of the low moisture in the air. It doesn't feel as cold as the temperature in the winter, and in the summer it doesn't feel as hot as the temperature because it is dry. You do need to stay hydrated in this climate. And also, there are virtually no mosquitoes here, so Midwesterners and Northeasterners who have moved here years ago will still remark on how much they love the weather and the lack of the bugs. The number 8 pro of living in Longmont is that it's convenient to everything Denver and Boulder has to offer. So we're 20-25 minutes to Boulder, 45 minutes to Denver, and 50 minutes to Denver International Airport. If you're working in one of those areas that is not Longmont, it's a very easy commute. The number 9 pro of living in Longmont is that the schools are very good. And the great thing about when you live in the school district that serves Longmont is that students don't have to go to the school that serves their neighborhood. They can register at any of the schools in the district that may suit them. For example, some public schools specialize in science, technology, engineering, and math. Some have a focus on the arts, some focus on their sports programs more than others, so students get to choose where they want to go. And the number 10 reason that I love living in Longmont is that it's affordable. When compared to the surrounding areas of Boulder County, you can get the nicest house for the least money in Longmont. The average house in Longmont is $604,000, and the average house in Boulder is $1.2 million. That is for a house that is pretty much exactly the same, just in a different location. There's a variety of living choices in Longmont too. There, of course, are rental apartments that are very new and nice. There's bungalows downtown that would be built in the 1920s. A lot of them are remodeled. And then there's very new homes that were recently built, and there's everything in between. Thanks for watching. I hope that you learned plenty of things about Longmont, Colorado that you didn't know before. If you did, please give this video a like. I sell real estate in Longmont and Boulder, Colorado, so if you are moving to the area, I can't wait to hear from you. Please call or text me and let's set up a call where I can learn more about what you are looking for. I'm here to help make your Colorado homeowner dream come true.